Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life and finances. My name is Yamicha Jojo White, the only Live Past Crazy Specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? I hope you guys are. I woke up in the best mood ever this morning. Like, best mood ever. And it's going to be a great day. I hope you guys are ready to get this Monday started. One of my girlfriends, if y'all see, I got a new sign back in the back. It says, "Real queens straighten each other's crowns." One of my friends at work gave me that. It says, "Real queens straighten each other's crowns." Isn't that cute? Good morning, and how do you do? I'd like to introduce myself to you. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. When I tell you I woke up in the best mood, I went to bed late, but I woke up refreshed. I'm ready for this day. Good morning, Kim. Yeah, I'm at home today. Thank goodness. That gave me a little bit more time to sleep this morning. As normally I get up at 4:45, but today I slept to 6. I'm so excited. Maybe that's why I feel good too. But I woke up in a great mood. Hope you guys are ready. Did you have a good weekend, Kimberly? What'd you do this weekend? It was so pretty outside, y'all. It was unreal. It was gorgeous out there. Y'all, don't forget to invite your friends and family to the Facebook page. If they do not have Facebook, don't forget we have a YouTube channel and where they can binge watch all the Fearless shows over there. I'm trying to open up the link so that I can post it in there so that you can post it. Let me stick it here. That is the link for the Fearless Morning Show. So everybody can binge watch all of them together. All right, so, excuse me. I slept good. I don't know why I'm yawning. Today, I have 3 topics in one. Me too, Kimberly. It was so nice. I'm just sharing this to the Fearless Morning Show page so people can join right fast. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're ready to get this day started. Excuse me. Great morning, Miss Margaret. I was just saying, I woke up in the best mood ever. Let me tell you, it was a great weekend yesterday. I don't know what got into my children, but I'm thankful. Rosie gave me a pedicure and a manicure and a facial. It was just the nicest thing. Courtney rubbed my shoulders. I don't know what they were wanting, but they did good yesterday. I know. It was such a gorgeous day. And I had so much work to do, but I spent the day out in the sun. Oh, y'all, in case you missed, I had these handmade, and then they hinge. Isn't that cute that they hinge? And this is wood. Isn't these cute? And then I have a little bracelet to go with it. And she hand painted this, y'all. Like, this is hand painted. Isn't this gorgeous? I had the lady go to the website and take a look at what I was doing and to, let inspiration hit her. And she did. And this is what she came back with. I have actually 2 pairs. I have another pair. I know. It says love and this says now. Love now. If y'all want to order some, let me know. I'll send you her link. Because they are handmade. You got to pay for what you want. She's not terribly expensive, but I promise It is worth it. And you know, it's not something you're going to get the next day. Like I ordered these almost 2 weeks ago. So you give her your thoughts, your inspiration, the color, you know, what you're looking for. And she's a true artist. Like, she designs clothes. Margaret, she has some of the funkiest shoes that you would love. And Kim, if you like sneakers, she decorates her. She does her sneakers. And she used to be an art teacher for the Boys and Girls Club. She is amazing. All right, so I have 3 topics in one today. Accept the encouragement. Number 1. That's part of the process. On this fearless journey, I think that's the hardest thing, is that we have to learn to accept the encouragement that people give us and not let that encouragement overshadow, oh, but you don't know, I can't do this. Accept your encouragement today. Accept the good things that someone says about you and says to you and tell you that you can achieve. Don't let the little person on your shoulder talk you out of that. Accept the encouragement today. And then when you accept the encouragement, you won't have to wonder of, why are you here? Because a lot of times we ask ourselves, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is it that I'm supposed to do? That's all going to require some quiet time again. Here's my favorite quote. Your assignment is not your decision. It's your discovery. When your heart decides a destination, your mind will design a map to reach it. And that's Mike Murdoch. So if you're asking yourself, why am I here? And if you felt confused about your purpose and where you're supposed to go and the things you're supposed to do, you need to spend some quiet time figuring that out. But in that quiet time, you got to accept the encouragement. If you're questioning what is your purpose, number 1. Number 2, you've got to learn to accept the encouragement. And number 3, if you want to free yourself, you must first become conscious enough to understand your predicament and then commit yourself to the inner work of the freedom. And that simply means, y'all know all last week we were having real confessions and conversations about how my ego got all the way in my way. And I thought I was doing something when I really wasn't. But if you want to live past crazy, if you want to get out of that crazy job, if you want to do something different than what you're saying and doing right now, if you want a different relationship with your children, with your spouse, with your boo thing, with your side piece, if you want a different anything, first, at least for me, I had to check myself to make sure I'm not willingly participating. Number 1. And then number 2, you have to be willing to face your predicament. Face the fact that you have a problem and that you need to address it, that there is an issue, and that until you address it, the issue or the problem will always continue. Now, once you address your problem and understand exactly where you stand in your predicament, then you got to become committed to the idea of doing something about it. So if it's your finances, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, I had to look at why I was giving Wells Fargo $300 every 2 weeks in overdraft fees. Or I had to look at why I spent almost $7,000 between a Dollar Tree and a Dollar Menu. I had to take time to look at my predicament and then become disciplined and committed to know that I got to do something about it. And I think sometimes we have, and so this is why this is a 3-part subject. If you come to the Fearless Morning Show, we have confessions and conversations about your everyday life and finances. I'm always going to encourage you. Always. I'm always going to encourage you to do better. I'm always going to tell you that you can be amazing. I'm always going to tell you that things can be better. I'm always going to tell you something, hopefully, prayerfully, that you can use to go and do more than what you're doing now. And give you just a little inkling of, you know what, maybe I can. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your circumstances. I'm a little girl from Forest City, North Carolina, a little small town. Who am I? Right? So you're gonna get the encouragement, but you've got to be willing to accept the encouragement, because if you're not willing to accept the encouragement, then you're gonna have a hard problem identifying or facing your problem and your predicament. simply mean, and how that's twofold is that if somebody's encouraging you and your brain automatically says, well, you don't even know, and this is who I am, and this is why I can't do it, you're not going to accept the encouragement to think that you can do better. Then your crazy is going to continue, then your chaos is going to continue. So if you want to free yourself, you first have to acknowledge your predicament, become conscious enough to understand that you're in a predicament, and then decide what are you going to do something. What are you going to do about it? So in the accepting, good morning, great morning, Miss Valerie. So in the accepting of the encouragement, if it's hard for you, I don't know about anybody else, but it was hard for me in the beginning to accept good words from people. It was hard to accept good things from people because I didn't think I deserved it. Number one. Number two, I felt like they don't even know the crazy that I got going on. Why are they telling me this good thing? Because, and then the self-talk and the self-doubt and the negativity would kick in, right? So we can't accept the encouragement because we're so busy putting down, which leads to thought number two is you have, in order to free yourself, you must first become conscious and understand your predicament, and then decide what you're going to do about it. Because if you want to receive encouragement, you got to be open to receive it, right? You can hear, you be like, girl, you're doing amazing, you're doing great. But in the back end, you talk all of that out, or you reject it from the get-go. Why? Oh, excuse me. Why is that? And I think we reject it because we're not willing to face our predicament. So if I don't accept anything good, then my crazy, I don't have to worry about my crazy. Does that continue? I don't have to worry about changing my crazy. Does that make sense? Because the minute I recognize my predicament and become conscious of it, meaning I'm not just saying, girl, this just happened, it's insane. This crazy stuff just keep happening to me, until I take a moment and address that and recognize my predicament and decide that I'm going to do something about it. I'm never going to receive the encouragement, or the change will never stick. The complaining will never stop. So first, you've got to become conscious enough to understand your predicament. And then you must commit yourself to do the work of the freedom. Your life depends on it. If you don't think your life depends on it, that may be part of the problem. Because if you are okay with where you are, then you're okay with where you are. But if your question is, why am I here, which is the third point of the day, if you're questioning why am I here, then that may simply mean something is not sitting right with your knower, with your soul, with God, however you want to, whatever word you want to put there. I call him God. I call it my soul. Something is not sitting right there. And so if something is not sitting right there and you keep asking yourself, why, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? If you're asking yourself that why, then maybe you need to be conscious enough to understand your predicament and be committed to do something about it, because your life depends on it. And then it's going to be easier for you to accept the encouragement. All three of those go hand in hand. I read those this morning and I wasn't sure how I was going to put all three of them together, but I felt like they all went together. Because accepting encouragement is part of the process. And if you can't accept it, then you're not going to go far in the process. If you can't address your real problem, then change is going to be hard. And it's not going to stick. Change will be hard and it's not going to stick. You can say all day, I want to be amazing. You can say all day, I'm leaving this crazy relationship. And you can say all day, but until you're disciplined and committed, you be conscious enough to understand that there is a problem, that you're going to have to be disciplined and committed to the process of the freedom of your journey, then it's going to be difficult. So it first starts with questioning, why am I here? And if you're having that question, you're in a great starting point. Your life depends on you asking that question. Why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? And for some people, it is hard to answer that question. And it's simply hard to answer that question is because we haven't got still and quiet long enough to understand the answer that's within us at all times. The answer is there. And if we have a hard time figuring out our purpose and why we're here, it could be that it's bogged down with everything else that we're not supposed to be doing. Remember that 80% of your circle of concern, you're spending all your time in your circle of concern, which you can't change, instead of the 80 using the 20% in your circle of influence, which are things you can change. All from last week. And guys, for those that wanted the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I ordered your book, so they will be coming soon. So don't think I forgot about you. So if you're asking, why am I here? What is my purpose? You're in a great starting point. That means that you are ready to acknowledge or perhaps face the crazy that's going on in your life, because you got to acknowledge it and face it, and understand your predicament. Like true, because here's the thing. When we look at crazy, and again, your crazy can be however you define it, but when you look at it and you think about it, and then you tell it to somebody else, you be like, it really ain't that bad. You know, in the big scheme of things, it's really not that bad. At least I'm not. But at least I don't. Well, you know, I'm not as bad as. So now we are making room for our excuse to grow. We're making room for our crazy to settle in further. So if you want to free yourself, you must first become conscious of your predicament, and then be determined to do something about it, because your life depends on it. Your life absolutely depends on it. Y'all know I talk about my stomach all the time. My life depended on me eating differently. And I first had to be conscious of my predicament, that I was both the problem and the solution. And so once I figured that part out, then it was easier to change. But we've got to be willing. So if you're questioning why you're here, you're in a great place to finally focus on your predicament and what you need to do. And then 3, it's going to be easy to accept the encouragement that comes along. Because I am queen of not accepting encouragement and girl, I love that outfit. Oh, this whole thing. And then I feel like I'm obligated to tell you that I got it on sale somewhere, or that I shopped it somewhere. Nobody asked me any of that. They simply gave me a compliment. And I'm the world's worst. I used to be. I'm getting better at accepting compliments and accepting encouragement. And that was simply because I wasn't dealing with my problem. I wasn't willing to accept. You know, I was accepting some problems and I was dealing with. There were some things I wasn't. There were some things I wasn't ready. And so accepting encouragement to do more was hard, because I would always say, they don't know who I am. They don't know they don't know JoJo. So all 3 of those go hand in hand. Why am I here? What is my purpose? And you've got to be willing to first become conscious enough of your predicament to know you got to make a decision. Because that is what's going to be the start to your freedom. Your life is dependent on it. And then you're going to accept the encouragement. Have you ever, and this is me, this has been me, and I've seen this with other people. I have been gun-ho to start a thing. Over the moon to start it. When I'm talking to somebody, I am 10,000% excited. And the minute they're gone, or the next 3 days later, all the excitement that I had around that thing is gone. Like it's poof. It's nowhere to be found. That's simply because it was hard for me to accept the encouragement, and for the encouragement to like be real to me. Like sometimes we accept encouragement and we be like, y'all just saying it because you don't really know me. You just know the outside me. And so because I wasn't willing to face some of my problems, my predicament, I wasn't willing to accept the encouragement. Accepting the encouragement is part of the process. All of that goes hand in hand. Period. And so when you get encouraged, or you're inspired, or you motivated, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna find me some purpose partners, and I'm gonna find me some new friends. And soon as you get off the show or you start talking to somebody else, your mindset changes and it shifts that quickly and that easily, because the question of why am I here comes back. And then you think you're not worthy to accept the encouragement, and perhaps you're not worthy to even work on your problem, and that maybe it's not as bad as it really seems. Because when I think about it, it's not as bad as, and what if? And then so we start to make excuses for our crazy to grow or for it to never move. But your life is truly dependent on it. And so the quote for the day is, and I've read this before, your assignment is not your decision, it is your discovery. When your heart decides a destination, your mind will design a map to it. So the minute you decide that you want to live past crazy, the minute you acknowledge your predicament and realize that your life depends on it. The same thing goes for your health, your finances, relationship, your life, your children, your religious affiliation. Because I had to go through that with church. Hello, somebody. All of those are connected. Why am I here? What is my purpose? And maybe you can't hear the answer because you're busy you're busy covering up. No, you're not covering up. You can't find your answer because you're busy dealing with crazy. Crazy takes up all your time even when you don't want it to. Even when you don't acknowledge the crazy in your life, it takes up time because you're working so hard to avoid it. It's taking up all your space. I know for me, when I was with my abuser, I worked so hard to be quiet, say the right things, dress the right way, wear the right makeup, wear the right lipstick, wear the right hat, the right shoes, to avoid the crazy. And you are building your entire life around that, and you don't know. You know why? Because you don't want to address the crazy, so you build your life around the crazy, and it's making you more crazy. And so your life is being, that's why I said your life depends on it, because your life is being sucked out of you because you're working so hard not to disrupt the crazy, that the crazy is still disrupting your life. Does that make sense? Like you're working so hard to not let all the balls drop, but you working so hard not letting all the balls drop is making the crazy more. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about on that one. So think about that this morning on this marvelous Monday, wonderful Monday. What other Monday is it? Motivational Monday, mindful Monday, make a move Monday. You've got to, if you're asking yourself, what is your purpose and why am I here? Then you're in a great spot. But you're going to have to make room for the answer. And to make room for the answer, you're going to have to acknowledge your predicament. So if you don't acknowledge your predicament, if you don't acknowledge you're crazy, then you're not going to do the inner work of the freedom. And then your life is not going to be what you want it to be. And then it's going to be hard to accept encouragement. It's going to be hard to hear somebody say, girl, go back to school. You can do it. It's going to be hard. Thank you, Kimberly. Because it was making sense up here. I just want to make sure I was conveying it right. So it's going to be hard. We got to make room for the answer. So if you're questioning, why am I here? You have got to make room for that answer. And that means you've got to be quiet. You got to be still, because all the praying and all the talking to Jesus, if you steady talking, what happens when you meet somebody and all they do is talking? You can't get a word in edgewise. Maybe that's how he feel. We keep asking him for the answer. He trying to give it to us, but we won't shut up for a minute to listen. Quiet time to think. Yep, there's time for prayer, and there's also time to be quiet so that you can hear what you need to hear, so you can do what you need to do. Because if you don't, you're not going to get to where you need to be. Okay? Your life depends on it. Stand firm in the fact that you can see this and that you can make your way there. You got to stand firm in it. Like when I was going through, I knew without a shadow of doubt, yep, I'm going through. But I promise you, JoJo, you coming out on the end. Just hang on in there, girl. You got it. One more step. You took that step. Okay, one more step. Yeah, you got to drag that leg, girl, but come on, you got it. One more step. Yeah, you got to take a deep breath, but one more step. Yeah, it might have been hard and it knocked you down, but one more step. Because I was determined to see the end that I saw here. I had to see it here. So if you're asking yourself, why am I here? What is my purpose? You're in a perfect spot today to, one, recognize your predicament. Recognize you're crazy. And what are you going to do about it? That is your step to freedom. And realizing that your life is depending on it today. Your life is depending on you today to acknowledge you're crazy, your predicament, your willingness to participate in it. Your life is depending on it today. Because the day you have high blood pressure, you got diabetes, you got stress, your hair falling out. When I tell you I know about the hair falling out, I don't know if y'all knew me. Some of y'all know me, but I don't know if y'all knew me like that then. I got married December 30th, and by June 30th, I was completely bald. I ain't talking about a little bit of hair. I'm talking about I wake up in the morning, there'd be patches of hair on my pillow. And within 6 months to the day, there was no baby bottom smooth hair on my head. Not a stitch of hair. Not a strand. Not a stickling. Not nothing. No hair on my head for years. I was completely bald. It didn't grow back. It wasn't trying to grow back. It was just nothing there. When I tell y'all, I know the journey of crazy. I know it. And so please allow me to share some things that's going to help you. So until you acknowledge your predicament and become determined to do something about it and know that your life depends on it, it will continue. And if you say, well, at least it's not that, it's not as bad as, at least he ain't beating me. Well, at least he worked and he paid some of the bills. And if you keep making concessions, and here, this is a very fine line. I don't want you to go out here and be like, you're not doing, have an attitude with it. But I need you to take a real look at your relationships. But if you're asking the question, why am I here? You're in a perfect place now to think about your predicament. And know you got to do the inner, and that's the first step to the inner workings of your freedom. You got to be disciplined and dedicated to that. And your life is depending on it. If you don't think so, take it from me. Isolation, bald head, stomach problems, back problems, hip hurt. Y'all, not only was I bald headed, I was walking with a cane. I had to drag my left hip. It hurt. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, the pain that I felt in my hip. When I tell you, I would cry just to stand up, lay down. There was no comfortable position. I was in my 20s, early 30s, walking with a cane, dragging. I ain't even saying I would walk. My right leg took all the pressure because I couldn't walk on my left. I literally drug it. It was bald-headed. And that, my friends, is what will happen when you don't address your crazy. I was addressing it in pieces. So this piece may be right, but it didn't stick. This piece may be right, but it didn't stick. So until I took time to look at my situation and my predicament as a whole, to understand every bit and piece of it, to perhaps think that maybe I was a willing participant, and then to decide that I'm not going to willingly participate in this crazy anymore because I absolutely refuse. And then accept the encouragement, because you can go to church. You can hear the pastor. And this is for somebody. This would have been for me back in the day when I thought church was the end all to be all as a former preacher's wife twice. If I fall out in the floor, if I roll around, if I perhaps shout hard enough, maybe if I cry out, Lord Jesus, help me, hard enough. Maybe if I read my Bible good enough, if I pray hard enough, if I call him Jehovah, God, Jesus, all his names in the Bible, if I call on all of them, and if I go to the tent revival, which I did, and have them lay hands on my head for my hair to grow back, for them to save my marriage, for them to work on my man and work on me. If I had taken the time to acknowledge my willing participation and all that crazy, maybe it wouldn't have taken all of that. Because guess what? None of that was working. None of that happened. None of that worked for me. Not the falling out, not the shouting, not them playing my favorite song and me standing up and crying, not me taking communion. I ain't got nothing against it. Thank you, Jesus. But until I was willing to look at me and my predicament and be all the way real with my predicament, my crazy, and maybe my willing participation in it, and even if it wasn't my willing participation in it, I had to realize what I was in. Jojo, what are you doing with your, like, Jojo, for real? What is this? And what is this? And what are we going to do about it? And then when I got for real about that, that's when I can accept the encouragement. That's why I'm a fan for going to church. I am. And sometimes something will seep in and it will change your life. Right. Kim, you better say that, girl. You better say it, A to the man. So sometimes for me, I'm not going to tell you what you should do. I'm just saying, if the praying and the shouting and the loud music and going to church service every day, all day, if none of that seems to be sticking or working, and I call it accepting the encouragement, and you accept it for a minute, but then when you go home, I'm right back to the same crazy that I was before I went to church. But I just prayed to God to release me from that crazy. I just felt the Holy Spirit on me, and I done fell out. And I know I'm walking in the newness of the Lord, and I got the glow of His Holy Spirit on me, and I walk out and I walk right back into my crazy. You can't accept your encouragement. You want to know why? And it's not going to stick. You want to know why? Because you haven't faced your predicament yet. You haven't looked at your crazy for real, for real. You say, I leave it at the feet of the Lord. I left it at, if you leave it at the altar, why you keep picking it back up at the house? If you say you leaving it at the feet of the altar, I'm laying my burdens down in front of the Lord, why do you pick it back up to take it home with you? Or if you left it at the church, why is it meeting you at the front door? So that's why it's hard to accept the encouragement, because we have not looked straight on our crazy in the face. We haven't faced our predicament. We haven't faced the fact that I'm a single mother, JoJo. You have 2 girls. Come hell or high water, you have to provide for them. They don't care nothing about your crying. They don't care nothing about you falling out in front of the Lord. They don't care about you speaking in tongues. They don't care about the shout that you did. They care about the results. Can I eat today? Is there food on the table today? Do we have clothes? Can I go here? Can I do that? So sometimes we can't accept the encouragement. Our prayers won't stick. What we receive from the pastor won't last, because we haven't truly faced our predicament. We haven't truly faced our crazy. And that's my confession and conversation for today. And when you commit yourself to doing the inner work, when you decide, I'm not going to live past crazy, I'm not going to live in this crazy anymore, and I'm not going to continue with this. And when you stop saying, well, at least it's not as bad as, well, you know, she got it worse than me, honey. At least I ain't this way. And when you stop comparing and you start looking at yourself, when I stopped comparing myself to everybody else and I started looking at JoJo, a whole lot of things became very, 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 very clear. I was in that 80% of concern instead of the 20% of influence, meaning I worry about everybody else's business instead of my own. Because I wasn't worried about my own, I had problems going on in my place, and my crazy was continuing. So if you're asking yourself, what is your purpose? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? You're in a perfect place to now look at your predicament, because there's something in you that's saying, all is not right with us, JoJo. We're missing something. And we don't know how to tell you. We can't verbally communicate what we're missing, but we can make you sick. We can give you that high blood pressure. I can give you the diabetes because we're not living true to our call. Because I am a firm believer, and science backs me up. Y'all know I'm a nerd. That all those negative thoughts cause illness in the body. They do. I'm a witness of that. 2 or 3 times over, because I didn't believe it the first time, apparently. So until we get real about our predicament, until we realize this, we are both the problem and the solution, that we've got to do something about it, until we stop comparing, until we start focusing on our circle of influence and not our circle of concern, and know that your life depends on this situation, and stand firm. Like, I had to know, like when I was getting my master's degree, when I tell y'all that mess, forget school being hard. Let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that I worked in Durham. I lived in Raleigh. My kids went to school in Cary. So from Raleigh to Durham is 45 minutes without traffic. I had to stop in Cary to drop the kids off to school. Then keep going to Raleigh. Work a full day at Duke and IBM. Drive back. Stop in Cary. Pick up kids. Drive to Raleigh. To Nightdale, which is past Raleigh, drop them off with the babysitter, drive back to Raleigh, attend class until 10 o'clock at night, drive back to Nightdale, which from Raleigh to Nightdale is like 25 minutes, and then from Nightdale back home, getting home at 11:30, 12 o'clock on a school night, put my kids to bed. One is 1.5, one is 7, putting them to bed. After I've done everything I need to do, I'm going to bed at 1 to get back up at 5 to leave my house at 6 to do the same thing over again. But I knew the end result. And sometimes it is when you stand firm in your decision that you are no longer going to be in this place. Because in the Bible, and if Mr. Valerie is on here, there's a verse, and it's in the Old Testament. It says, turn and go north. Number 1, then it says, this affliction will never come to me again. The second time, I was bound and determined to hold the Lord to that. I'm not going to go through this again. I done been through this. I need something different. I'm not going to go through this crazy. So I got real with myself. I looked at my predicament. What was I going to do about it? I realized my life depended on it. And then I stood firm in my decision. I did not care how hard it was going to be. I was going to finish that school because I knew it was going to stop me from making. I had an undergraduate. I had 2 undergraduate degrees. I was only making $12.26 an hour. I knew with the master's I could make a little bit more. I went to 16, but I knew if I kept going to that PhD, I could make more. And I did not care when I decided to stand firm on my journey to live past crazy. When I decided to stand firm on what I need to do, then it was easier for me to accept the encouragement. Then it was easier for me to accept what God was saying and what people were saying, because then I had let go of some of the self-talk. I had faced my predicament. All of this is part of the process. All 3 of those go hand in hand. If you're asking yourself why, what is your purpose, and why am I here, you're in a perfect place to look at your predicament to figure that part out. And know that your life depends on it. I knew my life and my children's life depended on me not making the same decision again. And if the same problem keeps happening, and if you keep going to church and you're praying and you're asking God for that answer, and you're leaving it at the altar, but you're picking it up before you leave, and you don't have faith. Some of us have more faith in our car taking us down the street on empty than we have in God fixing our problem. Until you can switch that around. You can pray, you can shout, you can fall out on the floor, you can play the loud music, you can stay there all day, you can talk in tongues, he can lay hands on you. And I promise you, you will pick up the crazy before he can even say amen, before the Holy Spirit can even get off of you. You thinking about your crazy and how you're going to, again, change your life to accommodate the crazy in your life. How many of us have done everything under the sun to accommodate the crazy thing in our life? I've done everything to accommodate that crazy relationship. I changed my hair. I changed my nails. I changed the way I talk. I changed my appearance. I changed where I live. I changed my car. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. So that's the fearless thought for today, guys. In order to accept the encouragement, which is part of the process, in order to accept that you can do this, that you can be whatever it is you want to be, first, you got to acknowledge your predicament. You got to be conscious enough to understand you got a problem on your hands. And ignoring it ain't working. And then you got to stand firm in that. Happy Black Women's History Month, my friend. How are you? We got to stand firm in that decision. And release. And this is what this guy says. He says, stand firm in the seat of the witness and release the hold that your mind has on you. This is your life. Reclaim it. It says, stand firm in the seat of the witness, meaning your soul. Stand firm in what your soul knows. Your soul know the answer, but you don't want to. We know the answer, like deep down, I know what I need to do, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to do the work because it's hard. And then it's going to bring about so many other problems. And we start adding up the problems that we're going to have to deal with because we made a decision to live true to who we are and our calling. We'd rather suffer than to deal with the whole list of things that's going to happen when we decide to live true to our calling. So it says, stand firm in the seat of the witness. That means in your soul. Release the hold that the habitual mind, meaning your constant thoughts that you always have, that it has on you. This is your life. Reclaim it. Your thoughts are powerful. Your thoughts are words. What you're living right now is what you said last month, last week, last year. Firm believer. Your life is dependent on you. Accept the encouragement today. As you accept that encouragement today, know that you've got to be willing to acknowledge your predicament. Your life is dependent on it. All right, guys, I hope this has helped somebody today. I really, really hope it has. If your friends and family do not have Facebook, do not forget that we have a YouTube channel. And I'm going to post it right here again so that you can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. Right. Shay, let me tell you. Fear of failure, and no, it will keep you up at night. It keeps me up at night. It used to. I'm getting better at it. Let me tell you, in this Live Past Crazy journey, I get better at it. And there's some things I still wrestle with. And that, my friend, is where your self-talk comes from. Y'all ain't seen one of my quotes in a long time, so let me get it. This quote is so old. This is the original one. It's lost its color. I had to replace it. Somebody is waiting to hear my voice. They will not move until I move. When I'm having one of those days where I think I can't make it, I look at that. There's another one. It says, always remember, Jojo, that you love words. They are your foundation for you to speak where you want to be. I have quotes everywhere. There's one over here. It is Isaiah 61, the year of the Lord Savior. And it talks about my blessings. There's another one. Go confident in the direction of your dreams. There's one over there. Leadership. Real queens straighten each other crowns. I have them everywhere. There are days when you're going to need that. There are days when I don't need them because I have said them so many times over and over and over and over again that I got it. And I don't need it because I can say it real fast and I can redirect that negative thought. But on those days when you can't redirect that negative thought because it's so, you deep down in it really bad, that's the day when you need that quote. Here go another in case you wonder. Jojo, when you say I am, you are stating the name of God. I am great. I am wealthy. Whatever you add to I am, you shall have. Here's another one. I have no lack. I have only abundance. I receive all of my blessing. And my mindset is yes. I'm just saying. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, y'all, are y'all losing me? I'm just saying. Think about that. If your friends and family, I shared the YouTube channel. And also, if my Sister's Keeper t-shirts are available for sale, so you can get them there. We do have other merchandise available. And then this jewelry, we do have Be Fearless jewelry on there. And then just as a side note, a girlfriend of mine made these. She is an artist. These are all hand painted. And I'll post her information too. But no, guys, thank you. I'm glad you got back. I don't know what happened. It could be me. It could be mine. But today, guys, as I close out the Fearless Morning Show, please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. Please tell a friend. It is going to be hard for you to accept the encouragement. It's going to be hard for you to accept, girl, you look good. It's going to be hard for you to accept you can do it. It's going to be hard for you to accept that you can perhaps get a new job. It's going to be so hard for you to accept you can do better than your mom and them. You can have a better job. Maybe you can move away from your family. That's hard. Please understand. That's hard. And it's hard for you to accept that you can be great and amazing because you've not addressed. You got to be willing to look at your predicament. Not only you got to be willing to look at it, you need to address it and then stand firm in the decision, knowing that you got to do something about it because your life is dependent on it. And that's why it's hard, again, to accept that encouragement. That's why you can go to church all day. They can preach you out the wall. The choir can sing your favorite song. The Holy Spirit can fall. Jesus himself can come down. And he will work a miracle. Absolutely. And they can lay up the hands. But until you are ready to address the problem, either your willing participation, your non-willing participation, until you are willing to look at that, face your predicament, and do something about it and stand firm in it. What did the guy say? Let me read this quote one more time. Stand firm in the seat. That means in your soul, stand firm in the seat of the witness and release the hold that the habitual mind, meaning the same thing you used to think, let go of that. Release the hold that it has on your life. This is your life. Reclaim it. Your life is dependent on it. If you want true freedom for yourself, you must first become conscious enough to understand your predicament. Then you must commit yourself to the inner work of the freedom. You do this as though your life depends on it because it does. As of right now, your life is not your own. It belongs to your inner roommate, that negative Nelly, that self-talk. I'm just saying. Right, you have to make the decision to do what you must do in order to make change happen. Until you get bound and determined right there, until you get to that right there, I promise you, and let me tell you, I promise, when I tell you, I'm a fan of the church. First Lady 2 times. I'm a fan of praying. I'm a fan of all things Jesus. But we also deal with reality. If you praying for Jesus to change everything, all the crazy in your life, but yet you pick it up from the altar before you even leave, or it's meeting you at your front door, your crazy will continue. And you are continuing to make room for your crazy to grow. Because if you keep saying, well, at least it's not as bad as, at least he ain't beating me. Well, at least he pays some bills. You know, that's a fine line. You got to look at what's true to your core. If it works for you, it works for you. And I'm happy for you. You've got to do some. Because all relationships are partnerships, give and take. So if that works, then it works. But if you have that question, that why am I here? So those are the 3 questions. Why am I here? What is my purpose? You're in a perfect place to look at your predicament and your situation to figure out what needs to be done. Then stand firm in that decision. Know that your life depends on it. And then number 3, then you can accept the encouragement. It's hard to accept anybody wanting to give. It's hard to accept the love of God. It's hard to accept all of these things when crazy is intervening in our life continuously. And this is my last thought. How many of us have prayed, God, you just don't understand. Like, I know you know it's bad, God, but you don't understand this bad. How many of y'all done prayed that prayer? Because I prayed that prayer when my husband was beating me, when he threw me out the moving car, or when he shoved me under the bed. I was like, God, and so I prayed, but then my problem went home with me. I fell out. I shouted. The Holy Spirit fell. They played my songs. But if my crazy is going to continue, at what point do I look at my predicament and decide what am I going to do about it? What am I going to stand firm in? that is it for the Phyllis Thought for today. I hope you guys have an amazing Monday. I hope you had a wonderful week. Y'all woke up in the best of the moods ever. I don't know why. So I hope this show has helped somebody today. Good morning, Jasmine. I hope you have an amazing Monday, mindful Monday, motivational Monday, make it happen Monday. Today, it's going to be hard. It was hard for me to look at my predicament and to really sit down and look at it like, JoJo, how the hell did we get here? That was hard. That was the hardest. After that, everything gets easier. I'm just saying. I hope you have an amazing Monday. Please make sure you share the video. Sharing is caring. If your friends and family do not have Facebook, we do have a YouTube channel. Oh, I forgot. I'll post a link. If they don't have any social media but have an email and they want to sign up to get their Phyllis Thought of the day delivered to their email, they can sign up to do so. I will post that before I leave for the morning. All right, guys, have an amazing Monday. I'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one.